Hello everybody. Thank you so much for those of you who are going to be joining me live, those of you watching the playback. It's time for part 2 of Witchy Book Club with the astrology, the only astrology book you will ever need. I am really excited to get started. Last week went to like 2.5 hours almost. That is not going to happen this week. I will not allow that to happen. I just feel like because it was the first one, that it was a little difficult for me to give you like my intro, give you my ethics, and make our way through the signs. Plus I was trying to explain what everything was that I was telling you about, like the moon sign and the ascendant and all of the, you know, whether it's fixed or cardinal or its element. So I feel like for these live streams, we're going to keep it at about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, probably more like an hour and a half. But I'm hoping that you guys can stick with me. I see some of you rolling in. Hi, everybody. I think Heather said hello. Heather, I am drinking the tea that you got me. The cup, if everyone's wondering, oh my gosh, you guys, I really don't understand what this phone is doing here. I'm not even going to bring it too close to the camera because I don't want it to out of focus, but it's Cup of Life. Heather sent me this in like a little love package. I don't know why, she's just so sweet. It's warmed my heart. And it's white tea, jasmine, and lavender, and it's so good. I am like obsessed with it. I'm like blowing through the box. Which is funny because it isn't a tea that I would typically pick out for myself. I don't typically drink like more floral teas, but since she sent it to me and I tasted it, it's so good. And I think it's the lavender that like calms the floral scent down. So anyways, wow. You know, I think it just might be my phone that out of focus, like that doesn't focus very well. But I was sitting here before I started and I went live, and I noticed that I was very grounded, very centered, and I saw like a bunch of like movement in the air and like lights flashing past my face. So I feel like right now the room is calm, like the vibration in the room. I know that sounds so hippie, but the vibration when I feel spirit a lot of the times is not as grounded as this. So I kind of feel like my papa's here. And like the right side of my body keeps twitching, so I don't feel him very often. Or something masculine, very grounded and masculine, which is my papa. So anyways, hi, welcome. Let's get started. I see there's some of you here already. I have my little rose quartz that we got in our witch's moon, and I'm obsessed with this. I've been using it like this when I've been reading or trying to keep focused. If you guys watched part 1, you'll realize, or you would have heard, that Geminis have a lot of energy, but not in the same way as like Aries having energy. I have a lot of like nervous energy, so having something like this allows me to not want to touch my hair all the time or play with my fingers. Hi Starlight Tarot, I am so good today. It is very overcast, so the lighting is not as great for me, but it is my favorite kind of weather. I love very calm, very chill, like overcast, rainy days. Good morning, Chris Ann. Unfortunately, I have to leave for work now, but I just wanted to say hi. I'm so excited to go through this course, even though I won't be able to something. It's okay. Oh my gosh, thank you to do it live. That's okay. A lot of people are watching the playback. Hi, Christine. And I understand, last week's went for 2.5 hours. Again, if you guys missed me saying it at the beginning, that is not the plan for today. That was just I couldn't summarize the introduction, ethics, and the 3 signs in less than that. So today's plan is to go for about an hour, hour and a half, and I'm hoping that we can do that today. I will go over a few things, but starting, I know this is like a kind of a shadowy aspect for me, dealing with worth. My self-worth and what I'm worth and feeling worthy. I was talking with my boyfriend George about doing this and the time and the energy that I'm putting forth, and he kind of mentioned, and I was talking about like, oh, it's kind of a shame I didn't do this in like an e-course or something, and you know, I'm putting so much time and energy into this. People were responding really well, and not that I want to say like, oh, I should be getting paid for this, but I am putting so much like of myself into doing these. So I'm just going to start off by saying, if you feel in the kindness of your heart that you would like to put a donation forth in this live stream, as like a, I want to learn, here's a donation. It could be $1, it could be $5, it could be $10, it could be whatever you want. Please don't feel like you have to. And I don't know what to do for the people who are watching the playback, but I don't want to have to put this in an e-course. I don't want to have to do this on Patreon. I want this to be free and open and for you guys to be able to access it as you please. But if you feel the kindness of your heart, if you would like to donate something to the live stream, I would be so, so grateful. But with that, okay, I said it. The heaviness is off of my chest. Let's begin. I just want to mention to the people who are watching this playback or who are here live, if you have not watched part 1, a lot of what I'm going to be saying might not make sense to you, so feel free to continue watching, although it will be in your benefit to go and watch the part 1 labeled Aries, Taurus, Gemini first, because I explain a lot of the terminology that I'm using or what a birth chart is, so I'm not going to be reiterating myself, and that's my suggestion to you. It should be linked down below. Also linked down below, and in the first part I put where you can get the book that we're reading out of, the only astrology book you'll ever need, plus a website so that you can plug in your information to get your birth chart, so you can look along with us. And if you do not have your time, again, I explained that in the beginning of the first one we did last week, so please play that back. I'm not going to reiterate that again. Please do not take anything personally when we are going through the signs. If I say something about if your sun sign or your moon sign or whatever, please do not take it personally. There are polars to every energy. There are challenges and pros to every energy, and we're just going to be covering the general basis of them. The sun and the moon are considered planets, so when you hear me say the sun is a planet or the moon is a planet, in astrology we consider those planets. And the earth we do not talk about because it's our home planet and it's not in the birth chart or what we're doing. You just don't, it's our home planet, so you don't talk about it. This is not a joke. I take this very seriously. Please remember ethics and never tell anybody what to do or what they should or shouldn't be or what they shouldn't do, or it's not very polite to go up and just start telling somebody about their sign and energy. If they ask you, then that's one thing, but please keep in mind that this is a tool for knowledge and learning and self-development and not a plaything. Okay? I think that's everything. Everything else you can watch in the first playback. So, last week we covered Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and if you're not following my Instagram, hi Sam, good morning. If you are not following my Instagram, you might want to go over and do that. And I'm not plugging this really for myself. I'm really plugging this for you guys right now, because in my stories, I found it really fun to, like, throughout my day, if I had a thought or if I interacted with something concerning the signs that we went over, I'd post on my story and make it interactive for you guys. Like, hey, I think I found a red sports car, someone blaring their music really loud, and I kind of put up, hey, what sign would this be? Aries, Taurus, or Gemini, which were the signs we covered last week, and a lot of you were responding, which was really fun. It made it interactive. I talked about my quilts that has holes all in it and how my Taurus moon is taking over with that. And Gemini things. So if you want to be interactive more outside of this live stream, follow my Instagram and keep up with my story, because I think I'm going to continue doing that. It was really fun for me, and I think it was fun for you guys. So that is, I think, all that I have. Let me go and open my book to the right page. How's everybody else doing? What is everybody else drinking this morning? Or maybe it's in the evening for you guys. I know there's a lot of people tuning in different time zones. If you missed it, I am drinking a tea that one of you guys sent to me. Heather is so beautiful, and thank you so much. It's so good. All right, so let's get right into it. Oh, I only did my intro. It's less than 10 minutes, and I did my intro. We are doing so good. So much coffee. I had a rough sleep thanks to a sick dog. Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I already had my coffee this morning and a smoothie, and now I'm drinking tea. So, she is liquefied. Yeah, I had weird sleep last night too. I I finally got my cat settled next to me so I could pay attention to the stream. Yay, Christine. What kind of kitty do you have? What color is it? I love cats so much, but George hates them, so I'll just dream about them from afar. I had really weird dreams. Angelica, it's okay. Sorry I'm late for work. So, oh, that's okay. Hi, doing better than me. I skipped the tea and smoothie and now my stomach is mad at me. I had this one really long dream that like wouldn't end, and I just remember I had to keep stabbing people. Like I was running away from people or they were, I don't know what the deal was, but I just remember like a knife going in and out of flesh, which is like, bleh, like not my thing. No. I do not like grotesque. I do not like graphic things at all. So in my dream, this was definitely a nightmare. I can't remember any specifics or anything, but it was like pretty intense. So anyways, let's start. We're going to be talking about Cancer. So you're going to want to open your books if you have your books to page 23. That's weird, paying a lot of attention to video games. No, I haven't, although I did watch this really disturbing music video, and honestly, I don't even want to tell you what it was because I think maybe that's where it's coming from, and I don't know. Anyways, we're going to open to page 23. Now, what I have here, if you missed last week and you're going to try and follow along, we were talking about weird dreams. Yay, Cancer, yes. We are starting with Cancer. This is Michaela's notebook, my boyfriend's daughter. I taught her the basic 12 signs and the planets associated and stuff last month. This is her notebook. She does have each sign color-coded. I do recommend that you guys try and do that if you're not already. It makes it a little easier to learn. You can remember, oh, Cancer was in navy blue. What did I write for the planet in navy blue? And it just helped her to memory peg what we went on. It helped like to kind of file everything for her. So I'm going to be referring to these notes that I had her take then. I do have my birth chart, which I will be showing you. This is a birth chart. If, again, you're skipping part 1, I highly recommend you watch that after this if you are confused. My mother-in-law is a Cancer. Nice. Okay, so, and then we got the book, and I got my other notes that I took here. Okay, so let's begin. One thing that I wanted to mention about memorizing or about the patterns that you're going to be seeing. So Cancer is our first water element that we are discovering or we're talking about. So we've gone through, this will be our 4th sign, and if you remember your chart, we're going to be talking about the 4th house. So this was the first one for Aries, this is the second one for Taurus, the 3rd one for Gemini, and we're here now for the 4th one for Cancer. So anything in this house is got the qualities or properties of Cancer or the moon, which is the planet associated with it. Again, remember the moon is considered a planet. So that's how it goes. I had a lot of you guys message me saying I relate a lot to Gemini, but I don't have any houses or I don't have any planets that are in Gemini or whatever. You have to take into factor again what house they're in because they'll take on that property as well as a lot of things. But we're talking about the 4th house. What I wanted to mention to you guys is that there are patterns that make it really easy. So this is our 4th element and the pattern goes fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water, and so on and so forth. So you start with Aries, which remember our element is fire. Then we move to Taurus, and we remember that our element is earth. Then we move to Gemini, which is air, and now we're talking about Cancer, which is water. When we continue, we're going to be going through Leo, which is fire, starting again, Virgo, which is earth, and next week we will go to Libra, which is water. Wait, right? Yes. Did I say that right? Did I say that right? Anyways. I think I said it backwards. Right. Fire, air. We're starting again. Thank you. So the same is true for the dualities, which I'm talking about cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So those are the qualities we talked about, remember? And so we start, and it's a pattern as well. Hi there. And so for Aries, we're talking about cardinal. So there's only 3 for these ones, but it's the same. It goes in a pattern. So the Aries is cardinal. Then you go to Taurus, which is fixed. Then you go to Gemini, which is mutable, and now we're starting again with cardinal for Cancer, and so on and so forth. So keep that in mind as you go. If you have trouble memorizing, so long as you can remember like Aries, the pattern in which it goes, you can just work your way around and go, okay, so I want to know what element Scorpio is, and I can start, and I know the pattern. Let me start at Aries. So Aries, and you can go through it. That's a little tip that I remembered that I wanted to tell you guys about the qualities and things like that. So, Cancer. You guys ready? You got your notebooks? You got your pencils ready? You got your tea? Cancer is from June 21st to July 22nd. It is feminine. Oh, that's the other thing. So it's the same for masculine and feminine. Start with Aries. Aries is masculine. Taurus is feminine. Gemini is masculine. Cancer is feminine. Did I do that? Oh, can't. My brain. You guys get it. It's back and forth, so there's patterns to things. Again, I'm going to mention that our element is water. It's the first time we're dealing with water. And just like the suits in tarot, they have very similar, if not the same, qualities. So if you already know tarot, learning the element and associating them with the signs are a lot easier. The quality is cardinal, like I said when we went around. Its ruling planet is the moon. And I want to show you guys the glyphs, because remember, I'd like you to remember and learn the glyphs. It makes it a lot easier. And so for Cancer, this is your, all of my little notes. So here is Cancer. And then the symbol is the moon. Okay? At least that's the only way that I have been taught how to write the glyph for the moon. There might be other ways out there. I feel like it's such a stereotypical way of like drawing a moon that it seems wrong, but that's what I've always seen in books, and that's what I've always been taught. So that is Cancer and the moon glyph. So what else do I need to tell you? Oh, the dominant keywords are I feel, very water, very emotional. Let's see, rules the 4th house. The symbol for it is the crab, which a lot of you probably already know. Okay, the body part that rules Cancer are the breasts and the stomach. Cancers love to eat and have to fight weight in later years. They are also subject to digestive ailments caused by tension and emotional stress. So the breasts I want to talk about, and this could be male or female. It doesn't have to be like actual developed breasts. It's more so too about the chest and having like a large chest for like a big large chest for male or female. Physically, they can take on like a heavier middle and maybe longer arms and legs, like skinnier longer arms and legs, but like kind of circular in the stomach area. So this is that would be more so about ascendant. Remember we talked about ascendants. I'm not going to keep going over it. If you want, recap the first one of what an ascendant is. So your physical appearance or how you start things, they tend to have very round faces, sort of like gentle eyes, but really large like breasts or chests. And the reason for that association or connection is because it's ruled by the moon, and the moon is all about emotions. It's about mother. This is the sign of mother and family and home. Okay? Family, home, and if you're thinking about Cancer and the crab associated with it, it's a really great symbol for the energies. They tend to be very, very soft and gentle and emotional and squishy on the inside, but they can be moody and brooding and temperamental in a different way than what you'd think Aries is. They kind of can take on the quality of like everyone's against them or the world's against them, or they kind of want to wallow in their pity sometimes. It's as if the tides of the moon, like tides affected by the moon, are the back and forth of Cancer. They can be the most loving and gentle and cuddly and just sweet and nurturing and caring person, and then another minute they could be kind of cold and distant, and they can snap at you and just kind of be like, they can get into depressive kind of homey state. So some pluses and minuses there. Let's see what I have. So they're receptive, they're sensitive, very sensitive. Sensitive in a good way and a hard way. So sensitive as in they're very, like, they're the nurturers, they're the animal lovers, they're the natural born nurturer, so the natural born mother or father or mama's boy or daddy's girl, or vice versa. They're all about family and love and connection. 100%. My mother is also a Cancer. Haven't spoke to her in 2 years. My mother-in-law is overly nurturing at times. Yeah, so it's like, how are you using these energies? So if someone says a lot like, oh, I don't get along with Cancers very well, but they've only met a few Cancers in their life that are overly nurturing, overly protective, overly sensitive, and they're not using it in a balanced way, then obviously you ain't gonna get along with that sign, because there's these qualities to each energy, each planet, each sign, each house, but it's kind of how are you using it, They're very imaginative, they're very creative, and super passionate, sympathetic, they're super empathetic. The mother, this is like the all-American sign. So I'm totally a mom and I have no kids. Exactly. So for the mother energy, you might find if you are a Cancer, you have a Cancer moon or a Cancer ascendant, or somebody that is, that energy sometimes doesn't even try, but it attracts people that need to be nurtured, because that's the energy and vibe that you give off, or that you naturally kind of cling to, is I want to nurture, I can nurture you, I can help you, I can love you. And oftentimes, if they're not careful, they can attract people that are codependent, or they become codependent, because the people that they're attracting to them, they just want to be nurtured, but they don't give anything back. Or Cancers will overextend themselves to people and do whatever it takes to make them happy and to be loved and to feel loved, and they can oftentimes be used and abused. So if you are a Cancer, a Cancer, just be a little cautious about, being too overly giving, overly nurturing to those who might need a little bit of tough love. They're extremely intuitive. It's ruled by the moon. It's ruled by, it's a water element, super in tune and intuitive. They can be very patriotic, because it's all about home, and so whatever their country is, wherever their state is, whatever their family is from, so let's say it's a foreign family, they are extremely proud and prideful and patriotic from where they came from. I'm going to give you some really good connections, because my father is a Cancer, and I feel like he is the most Cancer person I've ever met, so I'll be relating some things to him to give you some examples, but let's just keep going. Again, the key phrase is I feel. So, let's recap. Aries is I am, Taurus is I have, Gemini is I think, and Cancer is I feel. Those are very good summaries of the first 4 signs and the first 4 elements that are attached to them. And again, they love to eat. They are, naturally, they would be like a really good cook, because it would be something about like preparing for your family, or preparing to have people over, or they would make really good nannies, because they're just, or like a dog trainer, or like animal sanctuary, something that allows you to put forth your like motherly instincts or your nurturing instincts. Let me think. I would say they're definitely people pleasers. They can tend to be extremely clingy, or needy, which, if you're someone that likes that, then that works out great. If you want someone that like needs attention and wants your attention all the time, or vice versa, you want to give somebody your attention all the time. But I would say in a challenging aspect of Cancer, they tend to be extremely needy and sensitive when they don't get their needs met. they're a homebody for sure. So this is the sign and the house of home. So whenever home and family and mother. So whenever there's planets in this house, or whenever there's transits, remember the transits we're not getting into, but let's say Jupiter, the planet of Jupiter, transits the 4th house and hits in your 4th house. Jupiter's the planet of expansion. You might relate that to putting on an addition of your home, you know, or the house expanding because of the weather and you get cracks in it, you know, something along those lines. That house and that sign is going to be about the home and having it be comforting and able to host your family. Cancers are probably the ones that are naturally going to have like the family over for holidays. You're going to go to the Cancer's home. Okay, so let's go back and talk about like the all-American or the girl next door, the guy next door. Cancers I always see as like either like your homecoming king or queen, maybe mixed with Leo. We'll get there. Or they're maybe not the homecoming king or queen, but more so like the cheerleader and the football player, like those like stereotypical, like, you know, they're going to be very prideful. I'd say music wise, Cancers could be really drawn to country music or anything if you're not from the US. You know, music that would be a good representation of your country or home or ethnicity. So again, let me kind of give you some examples. Like my dad is a 2nd generation Italian and my papa was a 1st generation. He had like 11 brothers and sisters. My great-great-grandfather and great-great-grandmother were extremely Italian, made their own, you know, food. I think that my great-great-grandmother had Cancer or Cancer ascendant or something. She has fit the stereotype of Cancer. Big family, homebody, large chest, round face, extremely nurturing, took care of everyone, very sweet, very nurturing and loving. From what I know, my dad is the same way. He's a very round middle. Sorry if my dad ever watches this, I doubt it, but if he does, you already know. So, my dad is extremely intuitive, although if not used in the right way, it can be out of fear-based. So that watery emotional side of him tended, and I think I've said this in live streams before or videos before, my dad is extremely sensitive, intuitive, but he doesn't buy into those things. So without using them right, he will, as a child, I always tell this story because it's the most vivid in my mind. We were out on the lake and we had a boat that we were visiting with friends or something, and the boat was shut off and we were just swimming in the water. And my dad all of a sudden started like yelling at us, "Get out of the water! Get out of the water! Please get out of the water now!" And I was like freaking out. And I was like, "Why? Oh my God, why?" And he's like, "Get out of the water." So I got out of the water, I got my towel and I sat there. I was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I don't know. I just saw you getting sucked up into the propeller. I just like saw these flashes." And I was like, "Oh God, okay." You know, and I've talked before about how my dad, as a child, was recalling a past life that my grandma thinks was Pearl Harbor and all this stuff. He also has a Pisces ascendant, so he's water, so he's like extremely intuitive. And again, I'm getting too far off topic, but just to give you an instance of where my dad like is very intuitive as far as like, you know what, there's going to be construction. I just feel like this is going to be a better route, you know. That is him to a T. But he can be extremely sensitive. He takes things very, very personally. Quick question. Typically, do the attributes of your sun, moon, and ascendant signs tend to be stronger than other houses? I would say yes. I would say think of it as if, remember we talked about the sun sign being like the lead actor? So it's like the most important, but it might not be it might not have as many speaking roles or speaking lines if a lot of your other characters or planets or energies in your play kind of outweigh or contradict the sun. You know what I'm saying? But I would say the sun, the moon, and ascendant are the 3 most prominent energies. So yes, but if you have a chart where there's like 6 or 7 planets in one house, that is going to be extremely important, and it's going to be visibly noticeable in that person's energy. Okay, so also I want to recap, we're talking about Cancer, so we're talking about the moon. This has to do with when I'm explaining the moon, how it's ruled by your emotions, it's how you view your mother, it's possibly your diet. Because remember, Cancers are emotional, they're about mother and home, and it's about how you eat. So that is why those things are connected to your moon, is because that's what rules Cancer, those are the properties. Is that making sense? So when we're going around the, I don't want to get too off topic. You guys are getting it. I think you're following me. So Cancers, let's see, let me get back on track here. Cancer people are susceptible to accidents in the home, and they are also prone to becoming victims of theft. So think about the properties of home and Cancer, and being too kind, being too nurturing, being too codependent for people who will just keep burning them time and time again. That would be a danger of Cancer people. Let's see what else I have here. Oh, big point. My ascendant is Cancer, lame. So I totally relate to feeling highly influenced by it. Oh, you guys are talking. It doesn't say lame. I was like, it looks like lame on my thing. You guys are talking to each other. I think you're talking to April right now. Okay. Would it be because we are too nice to strangers or everyone? Yeah, I think that's a way to put it. I would use the key terms like you're too nurturing or motherly, and you're too understanding of like, oh, it's okay, I'll just make it better. I'll take care of you. I'll take you under my wing. You need some money for, the bus. Okay, well, here you go. And you just want to take care of somebody, and you might be a little bit naive in the sense that someone is taking advantage of you, but I don't even think Cancers would care. They just were like, oh, well, I helped. Like, they needed my help, and I helped them. But take that in an extreme version with a mother that might be dealing with an addict, and they would never cut them off. They would never kick them out. They would, time and time again, they're my baby, they're my child, I'll do anything for them, even though what might be better is to kick them out and cut them off. That would be like an extreme version of how Cancers could be taking advantage of or taking their energies out of hand. What is too much nurturing? What is too much mothering? Wanting your baby to stay home in the house until they're 35, and if you get a boy or a girl who is like mama's girl or, mama's boy, and they're just like, oh, I'm going to live here forever. Like, there's pluses and minuses to that, but at some point you need to cut that cord, and Cancers like have a really hard time with that. And think of that in an emotional sense with relationships as well. They are never completely done with somebody because they're always going to be holding on to that energy and that love and that memory, which brings me to my next point. Cancers are extremely attached to emotional valued things. So a Cancer home would be filled with a bunch of pictures or memorabilia from their child's their child's life, I guess, like trophies or medals or, helmets, or like if they played sports, like, and if you don't have a child, and you have animals, it would be like pictures of your animals, or like you have a whole section in your room dedicated to like a fort for your cats. Like, you don't care if it takes up enough space in your living room. It's all about the babies. So if you don't have children, or a Cancer or Cancer energy that doesn't have children, they will make their own children. They will, create some sort of things to nurture, or their house plants, whatever it is for them, they have babies somehow, because they're natural born nurturers. When it comes to the nostalgic thing, for me, this is really clear in my mind. They can tend to be hoarders. I would say the other sign that can tend to be hoarders is Taurus. Remember, we talked about that being material possessions. Those are on like a comfort level. So I want to have all of the things because it makes me feel good. It feels secure. It feels comfortable. And I can't bear to part with it because I will lose that sense of security. Whereas Cancer holds on to things in an emotional sense. So news clippings from a day that they had a date, or movie tickets, or again, the memorabilia from their children, or the collar of their first pet. So these things are important to them in an emotional, nostalgic sense. It's not the physical thing, it's the emotion or the memory that's attached to that thing. My dad is like a prime example of this, you guys. I'm telling you, I would say he's a hoarder. And again, I don't mean to, whatever. I feel bad if my dad ever watches this again. I feel like he wouldn't, but if he does, this is just stereotypical Cancer energy, and I mean no harm by it. But if you go where in his room and stuff, like he has jerseys and they love like signed things, like things that are signed by people that they adore or they admire, or a pocket watch or a pocket knife of someone, of a family member or a loved one, or again, like Cancer in the home, like those like through the years picture albums or pictures for like kids in school, where you like take their school photo and you put it like, here's them in kindergarten, and then go around till they graduate. Like my dad had those and he put them up every year. He absolutely loved them. Like it was his way of being able to see those pictures. Yes, my mother-in-law has entire 20 by 10 shed full of stuff. If you need something, she has it. Oh my gosh, I love it. My grandpa is a Cancer and he totally is a hoarder. I thought it was a family thing because I tend to be one too. Didn't realize it's a Cancer thing. I would definitely say it's a Cancer thing, especially if it's like things like at a garage sale, or it's like, ooh, there's memories, there's like things attached to this. Or items that might have been passed down by family members that they have no use for, but they want to keep just because. Or they love collecting old things, like things like vintage, or things that look like they have been places and been with people, So that is pretty good representation of Cancer. As far as the moon, that's the sign that it's ruled by. So if your moon is in Cancer, I would say that you're probably a mama's girl or a mama's boy, or that you have a very, very strong internal emotional motherly connection to things, even more so than having it in your sun or your ascendant, because of the fact that it's in the sign that it's ruled by, or it's in the planet that it's ruled by. You guys know what I'm saying. So the moon, if you have a Cancer moon, and remember, if you don't know what I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm not going to like break it down again. Please watch part 1 or go back and take notes, and then you can watch this one again if you'd like. So it's a very extreme energy to have your moon in. I would say that you're either really emotional and sensitive and really intuitive and able to tap into your emotions, or you're bottling it all up and brooding against why the world is not with you. That outer shell of the crab, it's like you're either in the crab shell or you're trying to knock on it like desperately to get in, and the crab is like, no, you did me wrong, like, you know what I mean? So there's like the two sides of it. But extremely, extremely intuitive and sympathetic and empathetic. I'd say Cancers are really able to be in tune with everybody else's energy. It's a water sign. So if you guys know tarot, think about water and the cups and the energies that take on that. I would say, very Queen of Cups vibes for sure. Queen of Cups vibes for Cancer. And I've been kind of leery about connecting tarot cards for the people who don't know tarot, but this one to me is like so Queen of Cups. I'm trying to think what else I think. Do you guys have any specific questions about Cancer or the 4th house or the moon? Remember, it's cardinal again. So we're talking about like an energy that's the starter, it's the doer, it's, come on over, I'm going to make dinner for the entire family, bring your animals, bring your pets, bring your house plants, whatever you want, just come and hang out with me, bring me a picture or a pretty new plant, or, something that I can put in my home. They tend to be home bodies, they tend to not want to leave the home. I would say Cancer is one of the signs of like wanting to read, but it would be like it would be like historical novels or, you know, something like that. Or maybe romantic, you know, stuff like that. So basically it's our sun sign and we are ruled by the moon. Say that again. What do you say? So if your sun sign is Cancer, then that's your sun sign. That doesn't like contradict. Yeah, I would say it contradicts. I would say it contradicts. I don't quite understand what you're asking, but I do at the same time. I just don't know what to say about it, I guess. So if your sun is in Cancer, your lead actor of your play, how you express yourself, not even how you express yourself, like just who you are at your core, who you are at your center, like the supplier of energy throughout all the rest of you is Cancer. But your moon, how you view your mother or your diet, Cancers, I would say, would be anything like traditional is a very good keyword for Cancer. Traditional. So whatever mom's mom used to make or whatever is like for your ethnicity or your heritage or your place of home. Something just moved over in my living room. It was super distracting. It was really, really vivid. Hey, what's up? I feel like my great grandma's here listening to me talk about Cancer. What does it mean when you have a Mars in Cancer as well? So that gets a little bit more off topic than I want, but I will go into it because we've already gone over the planet Mars. So think about it this way. What sign is ruled by Mars? Aries. So all of the things that we learned about Aries, all of the energy that we learned and talked about with Mars and Aries in the first house, take that, which is like action, how you get angry or how you turn like action. It's your action, it's your gas pedal. It's like what drives you, what you're interested in, you know, how you get up and go. If that's in, or what motivates you, it's like your motivations. If you have that planet in Cancer, so then that would be like you're motivated by family, you're motivated by nurturing, or things that you can mother, or motivated by doing things in the home. Maybe you're an interior designer, or maybe, you know, you run a daycare out of your home, something like that. It's a lot of the times it talks about maybe where our jobs are, or maybe like the field around which we find ourselves in, you know, or interests kind of thing. So that's when we're going through each of the planets. That's why I'm teaching you it all at once, which means it seems like a little overwhelming, but it's easier to break it down because you'll already have those qualities. I am going to move on because we're about 45 minutes in. I'm just trying to think of anything else about Cancer. Oh, okay, makes sense. Thank you. Yes, I am that way. Good. So, okay, I think I got everything out that I wanted to about Cancer. I watched part of the playback and I already forgot things that I wanted to mention, but again, I have to allow myself the guilt-free fortitude to know that I cannot state everything that I've learned in the years and years and years that I've been learning and studying and, you know, taking in and reading charts and talking with people. There's no way I can fit everything in. So what I remember to tell you is what I remember. What you get is what you get. Again, follow me on Instagram and I'll continue to state things along the way that I forgot or anything like that. Hi, Sarah. That was interesting info on Mars and work. Very neat. Thank you. I'm glad that it made sense. I'm trying not to stray too off track, just trying to get through the basics, but you'll realize that once you learn the basics, it's very easy to connect the dots yourself. So that's why it's overwhelming and long to do this. But once we do it the way that we're doing it, it saves like so much time. So bear with me. Okay, so Cancer's big lesson is to recognize the hidden anger you carry within you and not allow this to corrode the relationships that give you the emotional support you seek. More than any other sign, Cancer's a series of contradictions. Okay, I loved this, and then we're going to move on. This is something I highlighted on page 25. It says, if someone asks you for a favor, Your first reaction will probably be no, but final answer is always yes. And that you should be judged not by what you say, but what you do. So that's very Cancer to me. Like, no, I don't want to do that. No, crab, crab, crab. Well, okay, I'll do it. Oh, no problem. Yeah, well, I'll do it. It's crab, crab. Mother nurturing moon, Yeah, so my dad was always a really big pushover. So I knew I was going to get a no, but I could work it into a yes because he just wanted me to be happy and he just wanted me to do whatever and he just wanted to be loved and liked. So, yeah. Anyways, okay, so we're moving on. Does anybody have any questions about Cancer, about the 4th house? True about Cancer. I have a Cancer, Sun, Scorpio rising, sis, so she can be tough at times. Ooh! Mixed with a Scorpio ascendant, honey, you are tough to the bone. You are intense. You're very emotional and sensitive. That water, extremely intuitive though. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so Leo, again, want to make sure nobody has any questions as we move on. Exactly, she's a Virgo moon too, so critical. Okay, yeah. We'll get to Virgo. Virgo is one of my favorite energies though, but yeah, it's a little difficult sometimes. Okay, so Leo, we are now talking about, okay, moving on. Sorry, you're okay, Sarah, you're fine. This is what, like, I've been talking, so this in between is a chance for you guys to say something. So we're now going to be talking, we're moving right along, we're almost halfway done. By the end of today's live stream, we will be halfway done with the signs. So we're talking now about the 5th house here. It's labeled 5. This is the house of Leo. And Leo is from July 23rd to August 22nd. The duality or the gender is masculine. We're starting back at the beginning with the elements. Now we're on fire again. So remember we did Aries, fire, Taurus, earth, Gemini, air, Cancer, water. Now we begin again with Leo or fire. Jeez, it's hard. Lots of things in my mind. The quality is fixed. So remember, this is going to be someone that's really set in their ways, set in their energy. They're not going to be the ones that's going to move or change very easily. They're going to be like steadfast into their... I'm so sorry if that was out of focus for a really long time. I can't do nothing about it. It's this phone. I don't get it. Let's see. The ruling planet is the sun. This is really, really important. Again, the moon is a planet, the sun is a planet in astrology, so please just understand when I say that, that's the way it is in astrology. But the sun is the ruling planet of Leo. The key words are I will. Finished running errands. I'm late, but I made it. Yay, Victoria Lynn, we're starting with Leo. We just went through Cancer, so if you want, you can watch the playback, but we're just beginning Leo. The key words are I will. What else do I say about it? It's fixed. Oh, the symbol is the lion. Most of you probably know that. So we're talking about the sun. It's a fire. It's fixed. The symbol is the lion. It rules the 5th house. Keywords are I will. The parts of the body are the upper back, the spine, the heart. So we're thinking about the ways in which a lion stands. Very prideful, chest up, chin up, shoulders back, very open with the heart. It's definitely like a heart chakra kind of energy, very prideful. So chest out, stands very, proud and open. That would be more so probably for an ascendant with how you look, how you physically come off to people. But again, this could be the sun and the moon as well. It's just like that energy of like, I am here. I will do. Like, I am prideful. I am proud. I am in charge. Look at me. Hear me roar. Very good way to describe Leo. I gotta show you the glyphs. Okay, so the glyphs for Leo are I have notes on the other side of this page, which is why I'm trying to cover it up. So this was Cancer and the Moon. These were last week's. This is Leo, and it's in your book if you can't understand how I just did that. It's kind of like the end of a lion's tail, right? Then this is the symbol for the sun. Looks like a boob, I know, but it's a circle with a dot in it. That is the glyph for the sun. Let me move back to here. Okay. So, traits for Leo. Leos are the center of the universe, and that's the way that they think of themselves. I love the energy of Leo, but like Aries, when I'm describing it, it might come across as more challenging aspects than positive. If that's the way that you choose it to view it, that's your prerogative. But I love Leo. It's just some of the traits, when I explain them, they can come off in a negative sense. So the traits they're very fun, super, super fun. They're like the forever or the eternal child. They are playful, they are fun, they are creative, they are like, there's like this spark of light and energy within them. They are the sun. Think of the sun, just happy and shining and bright and loud and expansive. They're creator, they're dramatic, lead actors. They are, they have a great sense of play. They're extremely prideful, like exuberant with their energies. You really have a hard time not noticing a Leo enter a room, and that's the way they like it. Oh, this is a little thing that I highlighted. I just looked down at it. It says, when you enter a room, you secretly hope everyone will stand up and sing a few stanzas of the Hallelujah chorus. At a party, it isn't long before you assume control of the evening. Witty, vivacious, a fluent talker, you are a born entertainer who can lend spice to any occasion. Your energy is electric, and people gravitate to you as steel fillings to a magnet. Now, this like lovely, exuberant, charismatic energy, loud, fun, happy, in charge, in focus, is hard for a lot of these energies that are like Cancer or Virgo, which we'll get to, or Taurus, or like the very earthy signs can be like, whoa, chill out. Can you calm down? It's not all about you. Can we just chill for a minute? So again, there's positives and there's challenges to every energy, and other energies interact, you know, easier with certain signs or energies. But Leo can be a lot. Leo can be extremely loud and extremely kind of like, I would say Geminis are very gossipy, but Leos are like the life of the party, like let's all talk and like let's, you know, so they can tend to be a little bit like dramatic, or they're the one causing a scene. And it could be a good scene or it could be a challenging scene. They're extremely prideful. The way to hurt a Leo is to insult them or insult something that they've done. You know, don't go around trying to, you know, do something else vindictive to them or leave them or whatever. Like, the way you're going to hurt them is going to be to, you know, make them swallow their pride. Because it's ruled by the upper back and the spine and the chest, a lot of the times there tends to be heart issues, because they're very loving, they're very caring, they're very, again, prideful, but their upper back issues, because just holding this out, you know, like this pride, chin up, they're egotistical. They're extremely egotistical. I dated a guy with several planets in Leo. He was very intense. Yeah. Intense is a good word for Scorpio. And I would say Leo, it's more so like they're a lot. Leos are a lot. And you have to think a lot of planets in Leo, it'd be like the sun burning so bright. It's hard to ignore those energies over, you know, your moon sign. So I would definitely think that a lot of Leo in a chart is hard to ignore. Even just a little bit of Leo in a chart is hard to ignore. And then having like a ton of Leo, or maybe a lot of houses in, a lot of planets in the 5th house. Now, that is the house of kids or children. So whereas the 4th house is mother and the home, 10th house is father and career. We haven't gotten there yet, but we will. The 5th house is children and like creativity and stuff. So to look in there, if you have the planet Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion and growth and abundance, we haven't gotten there yet either. I'm sorry, I'm going ahead of myself. But it's safe to say you either will have a big family, a lot of children, or if you don't, you have to be really, really careful because you're a fertile myrtle. You have the ability to get pregnant or to impregnate very easily because it's an expansive energy in the 5th house of children and creativity. What are the houses about again? So the houses are your birth chart, right? So it's the sections in which your birth chart is comprised. I'm not going to break it down any more than that, but just know that each of these pieces of pie in this pie signify a house or a section in which energies can live based on where the planets were opposed to you when you took your first breath at birth. So this is a snapshot where all of the planets were and the energies were opposed to me. So that's who I am and what I am. So when there's planets inside of these little pieces of pizza pie, you take on those energies in which those houses live. So that's why we're learning all of it together, because it means the same thing. The 5th house takes on the energy of the sun, or Leo, or children, creativity, the things that we're talking about, stick them in the 5th house. So if you have things going on there, like, you know, if you have Saturn, the planet Saturn in your 5th house, we haven't gotten to that either. Saturn is like the break. It's going to be like, let's be practical, let's wait, let's hold off, let's pause, let's take, like, so the opposite of Jupiter, really. If you have Saturn in your 5th house, you might have difficulties getting pregnant. Opposite of, like, it's like the opposite energies. Or you might not have children until later in your life. Or you might, you might take more of a practical adult sense to having children, like we're going to plan it, we're going to be, you know, it's going to be practical kind of thing. So that's how you're using the houses associated with the planets and the signs to correspond with reading in depth and connecting the things together. I do feel like I'm getting a little off topic here, so don't go too far into trying to decipher everything in your chart yet. Let's learn the basics and then we can break it down, okay? Will all of that be explained in the book as well? That's a lot to take in immediately. Exactly, Christine. So don't get ahead of yourself. Yes, it is explained. I don't know how yet I'm going to break it down past learning the basics. But if you learn the basics, you can put 2 and 2 together, okay? Because like we talked about with Aries and the planet Mars being in a sign of Cancer, you already learned what Mars is about. So take what you know about Cancer and mix it with Mars. What could you say about combining those 2 together? And then stick it in that house that it's in. So let's say it's in the 2nd house. Take all 3 of those energies, combine them together. I know it seems like a lot, but you guys, when you learn the basics, when you break it all down, and you learn and you study and you become very familiar with all the energies, it's really easy and fun to be like, ooh, all right, so Mars is in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so I know what they'd be motivated about. I know what they might be, you know, what might make them go. And then stick it in the house. What also might influence it? How would this interact with somebody? It's so fun. Let's continue, okay? Let's not get too bogged down about reading the chart. We're going to be learning the basics. That will come in time. Something that is a danger to Leo, people tend to be bombastic and challenging, and often unknowingly provoke others into impulsive violence. They are also prone to being victims of slander. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's like a lion. Think again, we're thinking of the symbol of the lion. A lion could be like a loving little cat, like pet me, but don't touch me. Lay with me, but keep your distance, you know? Watch how good watch how good I look as I walk across the half wall. Pet me, but also like don't touch me too much, like I'm you know, off the market, or I'm highly expensive merchandise. They're very showy energy, so they tend to be in an ascendant way, so our physical looks, how we start things, the things that we draw to us, they tend to have very big hair, either naturally or done up hair. So think of like the extreme version of like a Leo ascendant or a Leo energy would be Dolly Parton, okay? So she's got the big teased curly hair, like the big hair, big personality, big features. They want to be noticed. They are going to be wearing something like animal print, or like they're going to be wearing something that's like flashy or flitzy, you know, fritzy. They're going to be wearing like the designer. They're going to be wearing, to me, Leo is one of the money signs. And in a different way than Taurus would be money or Cancer would be money. Remember, Taurus is about like the material security possessions, and Cancer is about like the nostalgic memories, having them to remember stuff. Leo is about like, I want the highest priced item. I want the quality designer. I want to be a topic of conversation amongst the people that they see me. I don't know if you guys know who Trisha Paytas is on YouTube. I love her. She's a mess, but I love her. She is like the epitome to me of like Leo energy. Very dramatic. These are extremes, so please don't take this personally. Just because I'm explaining Dolly Parton and Trisha Paytas doesn't mean that you have to take on those energies. These are just good, like very clean, clear, intense versions of these to give you an idea of. Hello, just getting ready for work and listening. Hi, you're coming in a little bit halfway here, or a little bit over halfway, but welcome. I would say that they're very protective. They're like the actors, the actresses, media. I would say like they could be a great person for like the YMCA, because they do have this like playful, you know what the YMCA is? I don't know if you're international watching, you might not know what that is, I'm not sure. But you know, something that's going to be doing like, or like a gym teacher, you know, on a more subdued level, is like fun and playful, and kids, they have a great sense of play. They're the ones where if like there's bubbles or chalk or, you know, hula hoops or jump ropes, like they're not going to sit back and watch the kids. Oh, how nice. They're in there, they're playing, they're messing around. They have this forever sense of energy and play, and they shine bright like the sun. You can't miss them. You cannot miss them. I'm trying to think of what else I am got to get to here. Pleasure, creativity, they're extremely creative. I think they're very noble, they're very regal. The sign of Leo is like the sign of royalty, the sign of like being in charge, or being in the center stage without really having to do a whole lot of work for it. So I would say people whose parents might have had a very nice career, had a lot of money, or like had some sort of status. I find a lot of the times Leos are kind of born into that sort of area. Not always, but you know, anybody that's like royal will probably have something with the 5th house, or you know, energies in Leo, or their sun is very prominent of some sort. Yeah, I would say the colors are orange and gold are really good. The magnetic colors of the sun, yellow, but like orange is a really good sign for Leo. I'm trying to think. They're extremely kind and generous and open-hearted. They're very loving, but also if you're not talking about them in the center stage. If you guys watched my paranormal series where I talked, I think it was the last one I put out, part 3, and I talked about my papa coming through in a medium session that I had in a chakra class, that was a mouthful. But he was a Leo. He was extremely prideful. He wanted to be the center stage. And even though he had a lot of planets in the second house or a lot of planets in Taurus, he was very grounded and earthy and practical. He was a Leo. Big chest, huge barrel chest. But not in the same sense as Cancer. Chest like that is like out. He was very prideful. In his last moments, he really cared about what he looked like physically. I'm not going to go into specific details, but they tend to be a little like they could be materialistic. But what's the word I'm looking for? Where they care a lot about their appearance and how they're coming off. Like how they come off to people is really important to them. Unless it's mixed with something like Scorpio, which tends to be behind the scenes. But even then, we're talking just pure Leo energy. They're really great friends. They're the life of the party, as well as like Aries. We're talking about another fire sign, though. So a lot of the same qualities of fire with Aries and Leo, but they are different energies, honey. Do not mix them up. I'm trying to think what else that they are. You guys know Madonna? She is a sun in Leo. Very good explanation of like, look at me! Hey! I want to be dramatic. Everything is a dramatic tendency. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions about the sun, about Leo, about the fifth house, the lion? Anybody have? I think they're pretty basic. They're pretty easy to describe. If you have your moon in Leo, it would be pretty easy to say that you're emotionally dramatic. It's like things don't typically happen to you on a small scale. It's like whatever it is, it's big. Whatever you're feeling, it's big all the time. A lot of them can tend to take little things and roar it out of like blow it up to be something bigger than it is. You know, dramatic personalities, dramatic. The way that you feel about your mother. You guys, I hate to do this to you. We're going to talk about the last sign, Virgo, but I have to pee. So you guys are going to have some dead air. Talk amongst yourself, please. I cannot hold it. I have to go pee, okay? I'll be right back. I'm so sorry for those of you watching the playback. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you. I couldn't hold it anymore. I told you guys I had coffee and then a smoothie and now I'm drinking this tea. I couldn't. My brain was starting to not be able to think about what I was saying. I'm sure that probably translated in some sense. And I couldn't hold it anymore. So thank you for the dead air that you had. And I didn't really lose any of you guys. So thank you. I feel like we talked a lot about Cancer and that we blew through Leo kind of quickly. I just feel like the signs that are under the fire energy are so apparent and easy to explain because they're not, I wouldn't say they're very deep. And I don't mean it in a negative way. It's like there's different levels to everything. And fire is very like in your face. It's very easy to comprehend because a lot of people will notice them. But I think what we were talking about was moon in Leo. And moon in Leo is like dramatic. It's really dramatic. But like when you feel things really big. So when you are happy, you're the happiest out of everybody. When you are sad, it's like, whoa, girl, honey, soap opera. And they tend to like things very dramatic, like reality TV and like I would say like, sorry, I think it makes sense for Leo to go so quickly. Like you said, they're all very, hi, I'm here. It's very surface level. Yeah, definitely. And thank you for like giving me the confidence to move on, because it's honestly like, what does it mean when you have a shy, quiet person with a Leo sun? That is a very interesting question. There's a lot of things that make up you, that make up your chart, that can contradict each other. There's things called conjunctions and trines and squares. And so when you're trying to decipher a person and you know a couple of their things, or you're looking at a chart and you're trying to get deep into it, it's very difficult for me to sit down and explain it, especially if I'm not looking at your chart, being able to give you prime examples of how things are interacting with each other. So I'm sorry I'm not going to answer that question. What I can say is take a look at all what we learned so far. Take a look at what other planets are in other houses. Take a look about the ascendant and where the moon is. Everything matters, which is why I find astrology so interesting. And when people say things like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, but I don't really feel like a Scorpio, or oh, I'm a Scorpio, I'm a true Scorpio, and then you get their chart and they have a moon in Scorpio and ascendant in Scorpio, and you're like, oh, you are a Scorpio. It's like there's so much else that makes up you, and it's very hard to explain that. Right now, I'd like to just focus on learning the basics. Angelica, I'm sorry to comment again. Don't be sorry, but I always thought that was the Cancer in me, emotional. But it makes sense that my emotions are so dramatic because my moon is in Leo, girl. Oh, hey, girl, hey. Cancer sun, Leo moon. Oh my goodness, you are going to be a great mom. You are a mother. Like you are going, oh my goodness, the sign of children and forever play, and then Cancer. Oh yes, for sure. You have animals that are your babies, or plants, or you're going to be a great mother, or your friends are your children, whatever it is. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, I will look more into it. Thanks. Sorry, Victoria Lynn, I'm not trying to like blow you off. It's just a little bit more complicated of a question, and I would need to see your physical chart, and I don't have time for that. So this is what I'm doing. I'm breaking it down. Let's learn it all, and then we will, continue, and we can go expansive. Let's keep going. We're over an hour now. I love kids. I can't wait. And yes, my puppy is my daughter, and my daughter's friend is my daughter as well. See? Those are great, those are great signs to be combined if you're using them in the right way, for sure. But I would say definitely you're interested in physical appearance. So, oh, that's something about Aries I didn't bring up. I'm getting too off topic. I cannot keep going back and bringing up things that I forgot. I can't do that. Well, whatever. I mean my friend's daughter. I got you. Let's move on. We're going to move on to Virgo. Does anybody have specific questions about the fifth house, about the sun, about Leo, about the lion, about it being fire or it being fixed? It's pretty surfacey. It's pretty easy to comprehend. I think Leo's some of the easiest to pick out, the energy to pick out. It's the easiest to understand and learn. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole ton of stuff, but I think it's time to move on. If you guys don't have any questions, we're going to move on to Virgo, which is, I love Virgo, but it's difficult for some people. I love Virgo. I need my Virgo. I need my Virgos. My Virgos. Who's my Virgos in the house? Okay, so let me go down here. We're going to flip the page. Now, we are ending on the, am I showing you? Okay, no, I'm not showing you this backwards. It's so weird for me to see this backwards in the viewfinder kind of thing. So we went Aries, Taurus, Gemini. And today we learned Cancer, Leo, and now we're finishing with Virgo in the 6th house here. So now we've gone halfway through the chart, halfway through the zodiac here, halfway through, you can see we've done the bottom half. Nope, I'm not going to say this. It's too much, too off topic. Virgo is where we're at. We're talking about the 6th house. We're talking about Virgo. Why am I out of focus, honey? I mean, my friend, I was going to say, the comment came back up. Okay, moving on to Virgo. Are you guys ready? Virgo is from August 23rd to September 22nd. We're back on a feminine quality or duality. We're talking about Earth again. So remember, we went fire with Leo. Now we're back to Earth like we were Aries, and then Taurus. Taurus is the other Earth sign we talked about. And now we are doing Virgo. Virgo is mutable. And we are on our first double of the planets. So if you watched the first one and you remembered that I mentioned there are 4 signs that share, planets. So they are Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, if you remember. And now we're talking about Virgo, which is also ruled by Mercury. The other 2 are Taurus, which we talked about is ruled by Venus. And we will get next week to Libra, which is also ruled by Venus. Those are the 2 that share planets. Technically, Aries and Pluto share Mars before Pluto was discovered, but I didn't learn it that way. I will mention it when the time comes, but I did not learn it that way. So I'll give you that information, but I'm going to teach you how I was taught. So we're talking about Virgo. Virgo's dominant words or key phrase is I analyze. So let's go through them again. Aries, I am. Taurus, I have. Gemini, I think. Cancer, I feel. Leo, I will. And now Virgo is I analyze. I analyze. Analyze, analyze, analyze. Virgo. We are talking about Mercury again. So let me show you the glyph. We already know the glyph for Mercury, but I will show it to you again. So it's going to be the same glyph. So there's 2 ways that I see Virgo being written a lot for glyphs. This is the way that I was taught. It's like an M with like an S at the end, almost like that. But I see it written like this most of the time in like textbooks or on tarot cards or stuff like that, or greeting cards with Virgo on it. This is how I see it written most often. So you can put both if you want in there, just so you know both of them. And again, I put second one because this is the glyph for Mercury, which we already learned up here for Gemini. So these 2 share the same planet. Are we on the same page, everybody? Yes, we are on the same page. So, okay. The symbol for Virgo is the Virgin. Now, I feel like this symbol for Virgo is often taken out of context. There are similarities between like being, gosh, the words I want to make sure that I'm getting like very well. They're modest. That's a good word. They're extremely modest. But to think about the Virgin in a sense of like their purity and their like their intention is very pure and very systematic. So their symbol is the Virgin. I think Allison, my best friend, just pulled up, so she's probably going to be coming in a second and making noise and all that. But I'll say hi to her and we'll move on. Which she is here for Virgo. She is a double Virgo, honey. She is Virgo to the max. She is Virgo, so Virgo. I myself, my ascendant is Virgo. We'll get into that. But just know that it's one of my main energies. I really like Virgo. So they are modest. They are practical because it's Earth. They are discriminating and industrious. They are analytical and painstaking. They seek to know and understand. Remember, the planet that rules Virgo, similar to Gemini, is very communication-based. Mercury is the planet or the god of the messenger. They are all about communication, about information, about input and output. It's the talking and the listening and the thinking. And while Gemini takes the sign and energy of Mercury and makes it more intellectual in like an energetic, charged way, Virgo's taking Mercury and it's more on an internal level. So it's the inner thoughts, it's the inner system, it's the critique. They're really, really great at finding the flaws in things. Now, this can be used for good or in a negative access. So Virgo is like the best at finding the issue in a system. So if you have to get a patent on something, or if you're in a job that allows you to find a flaw in a system, then you're really, really great for it, because you're able to see the flaw in something before you see the working aspect of it. You're okay. I told him you were coming in. We're learning about Virgo. Double Virgo, Miss Double Virgo here. Hey girl. Hey girl, hey. So this is often the most critical sign as well, though. So you can use it in like you're able to find the flaw in things to make it work better, to find how it's not working well so that you can fix it. Although if it's used in a negative if it's used in a negative way or in a challenging way, they can tend to be overcritical and just find the flaw in things without fixing them, just pointing out the flaws in things for their own pleasure or their own peace of mind. So that's the analyze. They're extremely analytical. They're always thinking and internalizing and debunking, and they tend to be very conservative and very clean and simple and clear. They're very organized. I find, though, that Virgo energy is either one way or the other. They're extremely OCD, like to a max, like organized. They are the organizers. They are like the stationary horrors. They are like the, you know, the organizational, like their closets have a certain way and a certain order, and you put textures together or patterns together, or here's my long sleeves, then my short sleeves, then my no sleeves. Like they're very like methodical, and it's all about ritual and routine with them. It's very like, this is what we do when we wake up. This is what I eat every day. This is what I do next, and here's my ritual. They need routine. They need OCD almost. Okay, well, yeah, they're OCD. So they're very methodical. They're very, they crave structure and ritual. They crave the practicality. Basically, Monica from Friends! Ah, yes, that's so funny because somebody just said that's basically Monica from Friends is Virgo, Allison.
Oh, yes.
Basically.
Spirit animal.
It's Allison's spirit animal. Yeah, so they're very organized. The part of the body that's ruled by Virgo is the nervous system and the intestines. They're very prone to illness caused by stress and nervous tension, and they are particularly susceptible to ulcers. So, because it's very similar energy to Gemini, but their big difference here is that Virgo is earth and Gemini is air. So when we're talking about the similarities between communication and between Mercury and their connections with that planet, remember when I talked about that like nervous energy, that like I need to like externalize my energy, like I need to do something, I need to fidget, I need to like do something, I need to touch my hair, I need to play with my fingers, I need to rub this stone and keep my mind at, because I'm always thinking and thinking and thinking and going from here and here and here and here. Overwhelming, right? So all of that energy, take that and internalize it for Virgo. So that's what they feel on the inside. And their mind feels like that. A lot of the times, anxiety is is hand in hand with Virgo, if not for their organizational, kind of methodical, ritual sense. They tend to let anxiety get the best of them. So if they're not having some sort of pattern or structure that they can say, like, now I do this, now I do this, this is how we do this, this is the way in which we do this, this goes here, this goes here. If things get disarrayed or disorganized, they tend to get very anxious, very anxiety based. They have a very hard time going against what they feel is right and how things should be done and when they should be done. Which is really good for energy like Leo or Aries. It's good to have some sort of earth, practical, organized, because Aries can be all over the effing place. They need some like stability and structure because they're like, let's do this. Wait, no, let's do this. And Virgo's like, no. We have a schedule. We're sticking to our schedule. This is the plan. This is how it works the best. So let's see what else. As far as the nervous system, I really want to talk about this because of the fact that when I have a Virgo ascendant, so my body, my exterior, how I start things, I am extremely influenced by the energies of Virgo. So you can see how that like nervous, those twitchy things are even more for me because I'm Gemini with a Virgo ascendant. I am Mercury. I am like analyzing and thinking 100 times over again. I'm external and internal. The information that comes in and out all the time is overwhelming. So I have to do things. I found the older I get, my rituals, my habits, I have like 2 breakfasts. I either have a smoothie or I have oatmeal. And that makes it easier for me to take the stress and the thought over like, what am I going to have? What am I going to do? How am I going to make it? It's like, this is what I'm having for breakfast. And that ritual for me allows me to think about other things or to allow some of those stresses and anxieties to go away. Typically, they're very plain eaters. So they like very plain and simple things. Unless, of course, it's mixed with something else like, Taurus like me, I do like, home cooked simple meals, but it's going to be like I would say my friend Allie over there, she would be more prone to like some salmon on a salad, very plain, very healthy, very like, then what I would want is like some mashed potatoes and some hearty vegetables, and like her go-to would be simple and neat and clean and like methodical in the choices. Whereas someone like, Aries, they want a nice big juicy hunk of steak. And you know what I mean? They want a big glass of like huge beer and like, so, let's see, the intestines and the nervous system I keep getting away from. I have a very weak stomach. I have a very sensitive stomach, and it took me a very, very long time to realize how that has affected me, and how to realize that when I get stressed or when I feel things, I feel them in my stomach. I get nauseous very easily. I get upset stomach very easily. I am very sensitive to foods, and I can stress eat with my Taurus moon, and then my stomach, I am very easily to throw up. Because that's what my stomach and my intestines will do. I have to be very clean and methodical with the way that I eat. That is a very Virgo energy. My friend Allie over there, she gets heartburn real easy. Sorry about that, Allie, but it's a good example. Like if she eats something that's gonna upset her stomach, she's automatically gonna have, issues. She's gonna have to have some sort of, thing to calm down her stomach. So that is very Virgo. The danger for Virgo people sometimes arouse anger and violence in others because their tendency to interfere, their critical tongues, and their unemotional attitudes. So that earthy, practical, internal thought and internal way tends to be, they're very helping and they're very nurturing and very earthy, yet they're very internal. So sometimes you don't actually see that from them, but you can feel it from them. But since they're so critical, it can tend to arouse, like it said, anger in people because they're like, just leave me alone. Stop telling me how I'm wrong. But the Virgos are seeing it as like, no, I'm trying to make you better. I'm trying to help you. Like your hair is in your face, or you have something in your teeth, or like your makeup's not as great today. Maybe you should go redo it. And other people who are too sensitive and too emotional might be going like, leave me alone. Stop telling me why I'm bad and wrong. But the Virgos don't see it that way. They're like, I'm trying to help you. Virgo is the sign of health. It is the sign of like any job that has repetition. So it is the sign of the military. If you think about the way that the military works, they are the givers. They are the helpers. They are all about doing outside of themselves, like giving to, where like Cancer is like mothering. It's more of like a satisfying thing for them to know that they're nurturing. Virgo doesn't care. They just want to help and they want to serve others, and they don't care about what they get back in return. So Virgos often tend to overextend themselves. Virgos often are nurses or in the medical field or something that tends to do with a very methodical, like an assembly line, a repetition. You guys see where I'm going with this? So let's see. Let's see what I put for what. Yeah, they're plain, they're simple, they're orderly. I would say that they're really, really great at, like, when they're finding the flaws in things, they are really, really good at, like, planning. They're very good at organizing. So a Virgo would be really good at, like, being a professional organizer or a professional, like they could be a cleaner. But I would say that it's really the sign of health. It's really about self-improvement and health. So when you're looking at the 6th house, you're really looking at the qualities in which your health, or how you view health, or how you're giving to others, or how you're improving your self-improvement. That is when you're looking at the 6th house and what planets are in there, or what signs are in there, or what's interacting with your 6th house in your chart. That's the energies that the 6th house takes on. They're really great workers. But they tend, like I said, they tend to overextend themselves. They'll give and they'll give and they'll give and they'll give. But they need, their big lesson, I would say, is to learn how to take care of themselves as well, simultaneously as giving to others and helping others and serving others. Serving others. Because you can't give from an empty cup. So what I'm constantly telling people in tarot readings, or when I used to read natal charts, no, I'm not reading natal charts right now. I might get back to it someday. It's just very time consuming. But when I find people with Virgo energy, or a lot of people with houses or signs or planets in the house of the 6th house, I'm often reminding them you have to first take care of yourself, so then you can serve others. You cannot give from an empty cup. How are you going to serve somebody when you are physically ill, when you are not taking care of yourself? They don't care. They're going to just do and go and think, and then normally they crash. Let's see, what else? They're very faithful. They're very reliable. They're very critical. They can be extremely, they can be discriminating. They can be extremely critical. And if you find somebody that has the Virgo energy, you know, and it's not being used in a really great way, I would say that they could be racist. I could say that they could be very judgmental, secular, as far as like, this is the way that's right, and this is the way that I believe, and this is the way that things should be done, and when it's not, I'm judging you. I mean, I'll help you, but like, I'm judging you. They're really, really great at like sectioning things off. They're very aware of like the differences between things. I feel as though this is why it's really easy for me to be an astrologer and to teach and to learn, because I have this Gemini Mercury talking, listening, taking in all this information and wanting to project it out. But I also have the ability to be critical and to be very heightened and aware. Like, I am analyzing everything all the time. That Mercury Virgo ascendant for me is like, I walk into a room and I'm very aware immediately of how everyone's interacting and how everything, like the things that I was talking to you about Gemini at the end of when we were talking about Gemini, being able to be accessing the information in a room when you're walking in there. Now, this is a mutable sign as well. So I would say that me personally, I am extremely adaptable. I'm extremely mutable. I am able to just not even trying, just go and fit in anywhere that I want. In high school, I wasn't really popular, but everyone knew me and everyone most of the time got along with me. I got along with anybody that was nice to me, but I feel like I could go into any crowd or any group. Like, I could hang out with the popular kids, or I could hang out with the jocks, or I could hang out with the theater geeks, or I could kick it with the, class president. And some I would connect with more than others, but everybody I could interact with, because I'm mutable, and not a lot of the signs can feel that way. They feel like, oh, I don't get that, I don't understand that, I'm just going to stay over here. Or, it's all about me. Where it's more like, well, hey, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Tell me about yourself. That's very Virgo. Virgos tend to be really meek and mild, frail in their bodies. For ascendants, they tend to be very plain Jane. They tend to do things very methodical. They don't like big flashy outfits. They tend to be very aware of like fashion and stuff like that. So, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they would be wearing like, Gucci designer handbags. They would be more so along like the Lucky brand, or like, very like simple, plain, very nice, very well made, very practical, very simple and beautiful things. So for me, with my Virgo ascendant, you guys can see how long my hair is. It's a security blanket for me, but it hasn't changed. I mean, maybe I'll part my hair a little different. Maybe I'll put some blonde at the tips every now and again. I do my hair the same way. I do not cut my hair. I'm very attracted to it the way that it is. It's comforting to me. It's ritualistic for me. My makeup, I might change like the shades of my eyeshadow, but I do my makeup the same way all the time, every day. Very methodical, very plain. I don't like big showy things. I like things very simple, very plain, neutral colors a lot of the times. You know, when I'm in a mood, maybe I'll wear hot pink, but like I really like things plain and simple and to the point. Or practical, you know. They're very conscientious. They're go-getters. They're very, very dedicated, you guys. They're like the sign, they're reserved. Oh, where was I gonna, it's in here somewhere. So, I didn't realize this when we were learning. Hello, people who are just coming in, recent subscriber here. Just wanted to say hi while I caught you in the live stream. Thanks so much. We are just kind of wrapping up with Virgo. It's so nice that you subscribed and that you're here. What about borderline signs? Like now I am a Virgo, before I was a Leo. I do not subscribe to the idea that these signs changed. So if you do, that's okay, but I don't teach that here. If you are on the cusp, there is sections in the book, and we will be talking about cusps later on when we get a little further into kind of diving deeper into the connections between things. But right now we're just going over the basics. We're learning, because I'm giving a lot of information to you guys, even though it's the basics. As far as like Virgo, again, Virgos tend to be very plain Jane. They very, very stereotypical kind of faces. I wouldn't say that they're going to have like huge features or like very prominent features. I mean, my eyes are very Taurus, but my eyes are also very Virgo and Gemini, because they're big so that they can sweep all of the information from a room, you know? Eyes are very important, but they tend to be like very frail, sort of simple looking bodies, but they're very strong. So they're deceivingly strong, even though they can tend to take a more like passive, they have gentle oval faces a lot of the times. I feel like mine is going a little bit more round because I have that Taurus moon. But yes, so the other thing about Virgos is they're very like, they could be prude. That is a word I would use for Virgos, but they also, I would say more so, are not going to be the sign that is wanting PDA. They're not going to be the one that's like showy, you know, love on me in public, kiss on me, hug on me, grab my butt in public. That's like Aries or Leo or, you know, Cancer's like, let's lay in bed all day and watch a good movie and cuddle. And same with Taurus, I would say, or have Cancer's like, let's have the grandbabies over and play some board games. Like, that's how I want you to show my love to me. But Virgo is like, let's do this behind closed doors. Let's not, you know, I can hold your hand or give you a peck on the cheek, but I don't want to be like making out and rubbing on you in public. Sorry if that's too much, but it's a really good information about Virgo, is that they're extremely like, they're reserved. They're the virgin. They're, you know, and that doesn't mean to say that they don't have a wild side or kinky side. It's just, you're not going to see it unless it's like behind closed doors. They don't really tend to want to be in public to do that. I think I got it all, you guys. I think, but just so you know, there is a section in the book, and we'll probably touch back onto it after we go through all of the signs. But there are sections in the book, if you want to start reading them, go back and read the ones that we already did. And it starts on page 196, and it goes through the signs when they're in the moon. So if your moon is in Aries, this is some of the stuff that we would have covered, or it'll probably be worded differently because I'm going a lot out of my head of what I was taught and how I know. But you can go through here. So when we go through the next 3 signs next week, which is going to be Libra and Scorpio, and Sagittarius, you can read the moon sign along with it because it'll be the energies that I'm covering, as well as the sun sign. And there is a section in here for ascendants. So you can go back and read the signs that we've already been through, like I said, and then prepare for the next one. And the next section, starting on page 221, is, or actually 224, is going through the ascendants. So Aries and Taurus, so you can reread all of those. And that's kind of how we're using this book. Again, I feel like I want to go through things possibly again for the moon and the ascendant and stuff like that, but I just want to learn the basics, and I'm touching on your moon and ascendant as we go through it. But if you guys want to jump ahead, if you want to read more in depth about just your ascendant or just your moon sign, feel free, it's in there. But really, we're still going to be sticking with the sun signs. Does anybody have any further questions about Virgo? Virgos are very neat and clean and very, very like methodical. Like I said, they want their things organized, clean, cleanliness. Now, if you have a Virgo in you and you're not clean, chances are your take on it is, well, I'm messy, but I know where everything is. Everything has a place still. It's that mindset of like having things and knowing where they're at and being able to access them. I would say Monica from Friends is a very stereotypical, she's Virgo. She's extremely Virgo. Yes, and I would love to do just a whole live stream going through each sign and giving you characters in movies or TV shows or books to relate them to. I think that would be, it's one of my favorite things to do. I think it would be really, really fun. Yeah, so I would say that Joey from Friends is like an Aries Cancer mix. You know what I'm saying? So that would be great. Yeah, so that's one of my ideas. But anyways, so we are going to be wrapping up now. It's an hour and 40 minutes. We did really good today. We went through the 3 signs. If you guys want to recap, if you missed last week, a lot of this will make more sense. After we go through all the signs, are we going to follow up on the planets or the houses? I'm not sure how to word it. I'm not exactly sure yet on what I want to do or how I want to do it. Again, this is very overwhelming for me to try and teach it all. If you're just new and you're just joining now, I have a few ideas of how to continue this, but I might continue this on a separate series. Not a series, like I'll still do it live, but I think I would like to continue and move forward with another book for Witchy Book Club. So what my thoughts are is after we go through all the basic signs and houses and planets, which is going to take us through the month of May, I think we're going to be picking out a new Witchy Book Club book. It's for the people who may have not been interested in astrology or kind of are over it and don't want to do it anymore. So I will continue to do my live streams for Witchy Book Club at 9 a.m. Monday morning. We'll continue. We'll start a new book after May. I think we'll be getting through all the signs and the houses. But I will pick another day or time or whatever to do, and I will continue to make these live streams and talk to you. I would like to have a whole live stream talking about Mercury retrograde. Again, I'd like to do one where we're putting like characters together. We can talk about relating certain things. So I can continue to do this and talk astrology and teach you guys, but I don't want this Witchy Book Club book to last for months and months and months for the people who want to continue doing it, if that makes sense. Again, this is hard for me to say because worthy and being worthy and feeling worthy is a thing for me. But if you guys would like to donate to this live stream or contribute to this in some sort of way, I would be so grateful. If you don't, that's okay too. But I take a lot of time and put a lot of heart and thought and out of this. So I would love to, interact with you guys. Keep doing this. I don't want to put this on Patreon. I don't want to put this on an e-course because I want it to be free and accessible for anybody who wants to interact, who wants to learn. But I also do have to think practically and think like the time that I'm putting into this, is it worth it? All this stuff. So keep that in mind, guys. If you want to contact me some other way, feel free to email me. Please be sure to follow my Instagram. Again, I keep up to date. It's Cloud9 Studios. It will be in the link when this goes public and publishes. Because on my story, I am updating things constantly and giving you guys little hints and quizzes onto like signs recapping, stuff like that. Is that what the money thing is on here? Yes. I don't know how to do it. Somebody has donated before in another live stream and it like blew my mind. And when I was thinking about like, how am I going to make this you know, how am I going to make this worth it for me? Like, I love it. I love interacting. But again, you guys, this is taking almost 2 hours for me to do this. So think about all of the other stuff. Anyways, I don't want to be begging for things. I just want to put it out there and let you guys know that I would appreciate it if you could or you wanted to. Thinking about this as like an e-course or a Patreon doesn't feel right to me. But if you guys want to, feel free. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. There's like a money thing on here somehow. I don't know. If you can figure it out, great. Anyways, I really enjoyed this. I love the signs that we went over. Again, if you want to read, the sun signs we're going to be covering next week are going to be Libra, starting on page 38. And we're going to go through that, go to Scorpio. Ooh, Scorpio. And then we're going to be ending next week's live stream. Wait. With Sagittarius. Wait, did I miss one? We went from Virgo, now we're on Libra, Scorpio, and Sag. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Sag. So page 38 through 52 is what we'll cover next week. Remember, if you want to go into that other section and look up the moon ahead of time or the ascendant ahead of time, feel free. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to say about the signs that we covered, or maybe something they discovered from last week's before we end? I love you all so much. Yay, I did it. I had to take a pee break, but it's okay. I did it. I love this. I look forward to it every single week. My mind is like buzzing for the whole day afterwards. Thank you for everything, Angelica. You have like such great interaction and such great questions. I know a lot of you watching this playback wish that you could join it live. I can never find a time that everybody is going to work for. There's so many people around the world in different time zones, so I'm grateful that you are watching this playback. Heather, thanks, Sam. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Heather, thank you so much, and I love this tea. It's gone cold now, but I'm obsessed with it, and I love it. Thank you so much. All right, guys, if that's it, nobody has any questions. I hope you learned a lot. I love that you guys are tagging me in posts. Keep doing that. Keep reacting to the things I'm putting out. Thanks for teaching us. Have a great day. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Victoria Lynn, for having interest and supporting me and loving me. Before you guys go, make sure you give this a thumbs up. If you have not already, I see 8 of you already have. Make sure you give this a thumbs up before you go. I love you all so much, and I will see you next time. Have a beautiful, wonderful, magical day. And I'll see you. Bye.